launched a marketing campaign and just felt like you were crossing your fingers hoping for the best? Well, today we're going to talk about digital analytics, the thing that finally lets us trade all that guesswork for a real solid path to growth.
So let's just start with a really basic question. Is your marketing running on hope, or is it running on science? I mean, are you just putting things out there and wishing for a good result, or are your decisions actually backed by cold, hard data? And this really shows the two roads you can take. Over on the left, you've got the path of hope, which is really just guesswork. You end up with wasted money, and you keep making the same mistakes over and over. But on the right, that's the data-driven path. We're talking smart decisions, a way better return on your investment, and most importantly, a clear compass that guides everything you do. The choice couldn't be more clear. And it all comes down to this one classic principle you've probably heard before. You can't improve what you can't measure. It's so simple, but it is the absolute foundation for everything we're about to get into. Without the numbers, you are just flying blind.
All right, so if we agree data is our compass, we've got to learn how to actually read it. So in this first section, let's explore why analytics really is the heartbeat of any kind of modern marketing.
But to read that compass, you have to speak its language. And that's exactly what we're going to do right now. We're going to decode the digital language by looking at the key metrics that really, truly matter. Think of this as learning the vocabulary of growth.
Okay, first up, users. This one is thankfully pretty simple. This is the who. It's the number of unique, individual people who stop by your website or your app during a certain time.
And right next to that, we have sessions. Now, this is the how many times. It's the grand total of all the visits to your site. And here's the key thing to get. One single user can be responsible for a whole bunch of different sessions.
So let's make this crystal clear because it trips people up all the time. If I visit your website 3 times this week, that's one user, me, but 3 separate sessions. So here's the way to think about it. Users tell you about the size of your audience, your reach. Sessions tell you about their activity level, how engaged they are.
Now for a metric that's usually a big ol' warning sign, bounce rate. This is the percentage of people who land on one of your pages and then just leave without clicking on anything else. A high bounce rate is often a huge red flag. It might mean your content wasn't what they were promised, or maybe your page was just super slow. It's like a broken promise, but context is everything. If someone lands on your blog, finds the phone number they needed, and leaves happy, that's technically a bounce, but it was a successful visit. Then we have CTR, or click-through rate. This is basically a report card on how persuasive your message is. Out of all the people who saw your ad or your link, what percentage of them actually took the bait and clicked? A high CTR means your headline, your image, your offer, it's all working. It's hitting the mark. And finally, the big one. The one that connects straight to the money. ROAS, which stands for Return on Ad Spend. It's simple. For every single dollar you put into ads, how many dollars did you get back in revenue? Spend 100, make 300, your ROAS is 3. This is the ultimate proof of whether your ads are actually profitable. Okay, so we're learning the language, we know what the key terms mean, but where do we actually go to hear this language being spoken? Well, that brings us right to our next section, opening up the toolkit to see where all this amazing data actually comes from. See, your data isn't all huddled in one place. It's telling a story across a bunch of different platforms. Google Analytics is your go-to for what's happening on your site. Then you've got Google Search Console, which tells you how people found you in the first place. And of course, platforms like Meta and TikTok show you social engagement, where your audience is hanging out. Each one gives you a crucial piece of the puzzle. But listen, just knowing the metrics and where to find them, that's only half the battle. The real magic, the part that changes your business, is when you turn those numbers into action. And that's what this is all about. Learning to tell data stories that turn boring numbers into brilliant decisions. Okay, let's jump into our first story. We'll call it the successful Instagram campaign. And yeah, notice I'm putting successful in air quotes here, because on the surface, everything looked amazing. This campaign drove a ton of traffic. I mean, look at this. It brought in 10,000 visitors. On paper, that's a massive win. You'd be popping the champagne, right? But then you dig a little deeper. The bounce rate was a jaw-dropping 90%, and the average person stayed for just 3 seconds. That's not a successful campaign. That's a revolving door. Something is seriously wrong here.
So what is the actual story that the data is screaming at us? Before I break it down, just think about it. What would make thousands of people show up and then leave almost immediately?
Here's the deal.
The problem was a total mismatch between what the ad promised and what the landing page actually delivered. So, our diagnosis is that visitors either felt tricked or the page was just painfully slow. And that leads us to the most important part, the action. You either have to rewrite the ad to set the right expectation, or you need to fix that landing page so it delivers on the original promise. Okay, on to our second story. This time, we're looking at an email campaign that's not quite hitting the mark. And here, we're seeing a totally different kind of problem, a leak that's happening way further down the line.
So check out these numbers. We've got a 30% open rate. That's awesome. It means the subject line totally worked. Then we have a 5% click-through rate, which is also pretty solid. People were definitely interested. But then, look at the purchase rate, a teeny tiny 0.2%. All that interest just evaporated right before the finish line.
The story here is crystal clear. The success, that subject line was a masterpiece. It got people in the door. The problem, whatever was inside the email, the offer, the call to action, it just wasn't compelling enough to get them to buy. So the solution is obvious. Start testing. A/B test a totally new offer, try a clearer call to action button, or maybe simplify your checkout page. Let the data show you the way.
And that's what this is all about, right? Which brings us to our final and maybe most important section, building your analytics system. This is how we make checking our data a daily habit, not some dusty report we glance at once a month.
Think of this as a workout plan for your analytics. You wouldn't go to the gym once a quarter and expect to see results, right? It's the same thing here. You set up a simple rhythm. Every day, you take a quick peek at your active ad campaigns. Every week, you review your best content and check for any website problems. Every month, you compare how your different channels are doing. And then, once a quarter, you zoom out and do a full strategy review. This turns analytics from this big, scary monster into a powerful, manageable routine.
So I want to leave you with this one last thought. Analytics isn't just about reviewing what already happened. It's not a history lesson. It's a forward-looking tool for leadership. It's the thing that lets you finally stop guessing and start leading your marketing with confidence, with clarity, and with a real measurable path to growth.